And the group of nations has also been savaged for not preparing itself in the face of the U.S. making major decisions that could impact it for years to come. Yesterday, the U.S. president announced he was pulling the U.S. out of the global deal designed to stop Iran developing nuclear weapons. Mr. Trump said the agreement was disastrous and great embarrassment, adding, "If we do nothing, we know exactly what will happen. In just a short period of time, the world's leading state sponsor of terror will be on the cusp of acquiring the world's most dangerous weapon." But European leaders quickly hit out at Mr. Trump, and in a joint statement, Theresa May, Emmanuel Macron and Angela Merkel labeled the decision a matter of regret and concern, and would defy the U.S. president in remaining committed to the deal. Britain, France and Germany had made attempts to persuade the U.S. president to preserve the deal. Mr. Macron and Ms. Merkel made trips to Washington over the past month, while Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson made a last-ditch trip over the weekend. EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini also said the European Union would be preserving the deal, but added, "I am particularly worried by the announcement tonight of the new sanctions." But Dalibor Rohek, a research fellow at the American Enterprise Institute in Washington specializing in political and economic trends, told Politico, "There was little Europe's diplomats could do Tuesday, when the American president announced that he would impose sanctions on Iran, likely capsizing the nuclear deal, long seen by the EU as one of its few foreign policy achievements. The EU's reliance on Washington is particularly evident on its eastern flank. If the U.S. administration ever walks away from the security guarantees extended to its NATO allies, the statehood of a dozen small countries could be at stake. What are Europeans doing to overcome their dependence on the U.S.? Alas, not much. Theresa May, Angela Merkel and Emmanuel Macron have been criticized. Mr. Rohek reserved some of his criticism for Mr. Macron, but attacked Mrs. May and Ms. Merkel in particular for not preparing Europe enough for times without crucial intervention from the U.S. The United Kingdom is on its way out of the EU and will be mired in bitter fights over the country's character after Brexit, and Theresa May's awkward attempts to rekindle the special relationship don't appear to have amounted to much so far. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has seen her foreign policy options limited by electoral politics for much of the past year, and even with those out of the way, it's unlikely that Germany will provide with the EU the impetus it needs to become a genuine global player. To be fair, in the strictly transactional world of America First, it has become harder for the EU to offer anything of use to Trump's administration. Getty Donald Trump called the Iran nuclear deal disastrous. Even Macron's bold overture to Washington is unlikely to make much of a difference, other than a degree of cooperation in the fight against terrorism, or in Syria. Likewise, the French cannot remake the EU's foreign policy posture to their image, without the buy-in of the remaining 26 countries, for whom the continent's global role is at most of marginal interest. If the world's indispensable nation retires from its present role, Europe will not fill its shoes. The degree of political coherence needed to play that role is absent. In principle, it is not too late to reverse these trends. The EU is the world's largest economy and is still seen as a civilizational model by many around the world. If Trump's rashness serves as a wake-up call for European leaders, he will have done the old continent a huge favor.